It was about 11:30 when our Airlink flight took off from Johannesburg for the short flight to Maun, where our 2-week safari holiday would really begin. We had landed at Joburg a couple of hours earlier after our 11-hour flight from Heathrow. Last year, we enjoyed a 2-week holiday in South Africa, the first time we had ever visited this continent. And during that trip, the 2 days we had spent on the Kruger Game Reserve had whetted our appetite for a full-on safari experience, and now we were really looking forward to the coming 2 weeks. When we cleared through Maun Airport, we met up with Bibi, who would be our guide throughout the trip. We soon met the other 10 members of our group and were taken to the Island Safari Lodge for the night. Here we had our own chalet for the night, which was very comfortable. The lodge overlooked the Thamagakami River, beside which we saw a southern black flycatcher, a Birchall starling, a Highland skimmer, and then a Smith's bush squirrel, and a tropical boo-boo, or also known as a bell shrike. Right, how's the rabble this morning?
We're good.
Good, yeah.
The following morning, we left Island Safari Lodge and drove north to Shikawi, beside the Okavango River. Here, we would join the houseboat that would be our base for the next 3 nights. It was about a 5-hour drive from Maun to Shikawi, which gave us an opportunity to see something of the countryside and the villages along the route. It was afternoon when we arrived at Shikawi, and here we would take the launch along the river, the Okavango River, to the houseboat. The cabins on the houseboat were small but very comfortable, complete with ensuite and a balcony or area outside where you could just sit and relax and watch the world go by, or in this case the Okavango River go by. On the upper deck of the houseboat we find the lounge area and also the kitchen, but this is where we ate our breakfast and evening meals, and also saw this wonderful giant kingfisher right outside the window. One of the main reasons for coming on this trip was to see a variety of wildlife, and we certainly weren't going to be disappointed. During the 3 days that we were on the houseboat, we made several trips up the river, of which this is typical. And we had the opportunity to see and photograph quite a variety of wildlife, particularly birds, but also crocodile and elephant. It wasn't long before we came across our first hippo. In fact, we would see a number of hippo all up and down the river. And here is a flock of white-faced duck.
bird.
No, I didn't say that. I think it's a funny name, don't you?
Yeah, it's like some.
Oh my God.
And then we saw our first elephant of the trip. I believe this was a bull, and it had 2 broken tusks, I assume from past battles. I have to say, this trip was a photographer's paradise. We saw so many different birds. Here, a little white-fronted bee-eater. Then a yellow-billed kite. An unlikely named bird, the water thickney. Again, some bee-eaters. Beautiful little bird. And these are blacksmith plovers or blacksmith lapwing. That's an African jacana, which have massive feet for walking on the marshes. Here, African fish eagle, and we saw lots of fish eagle. Here, the female taking off. And a pair up in a tree. We saw so many of these birds, absolutely magnificent. This is a purple heron, and then a Goliath heron, of which we saw a number. Here the Goliath heron in flight. Once again, the blacksmith plover or blacksmith lapwing. And this is a hammerkop. A yellow-billed stork. We won't fail to recognise the Nile crocodiles, of which again we saw quite a number. Of course, hippo. There are plenty of these up and down the river, as I've already said. This is a black-crowned night heron, and here's a flock of them. And this is an incredibly rare bird, a Pell's fish owl. We were so lucky to find this bird. A carmine southern bee-eater, which then took flight. And finally, a great white egret. I said finally, but here are a few more shots of Goliath heron in flight. After our 3 days on the houseboat, we headed on up to Zimbabwe, specifically to Victoria Falls, of course, to see the falls themselves. Now, I really can't do justice to the falls either in video clips or in still images. I just have to say they were spectacular.